Welcome back to Tuesday. 3 vendors have all new stuff for us. Let's check it out, starting with the Telvar Merchant. All right, first up, we have Alakir Desert treasure maps. Definitely not worth 6,000 Telvar. But if you're curious, Alakir Desert brings us Order of Diagna, Robes of the Withered Hand, and Sword Singer, as well as a chance for leads for the Ancestral Orc, Gloves, and Swords motif chapters. But you can get these a lot cheaper through guild traders. Next up, we have Silver Thread Stitching Lead, which is one of 5 pieces of Sirabane's Ward. This one drops out of the dungeon Banished Cells 2. And dungeon leads are always a bit of a pain because it takes so long to get another chance for it to drop. So this is not a horrible deal at 25,000 Telvar. We have another dungeon lead. This one is Valenfell Etching Tools, which is one of 5 pieces of Rorken Steam Guards, and of course drops from the dungeon Valenfell. This one is even more of a pain, so these are not bad options. Our jewelry this week, we have Necklace of Cyrodiil's Crest, as well as the ring. We have Vanguard's Challenge Necklace and Ring. Then our scripts, we have Bound Affix Script Courage, adds courage, a buff increasing weapon and spell damage. Bound Focus Script Dispel, adds a dispel. Bound Signature Script Crusader's Defiance, adds removal of debilitating effects. And Fragment of the Voracious. This is one of 5 pieces of Mist Form Violet Purple and drops from the Craglorn Delve Malavar off of Thalich the Voracious boss. So this is here for 5,000 Telvar. Remember, if you go and you kill that boss, it is a guaranteed drop, but if you prefer not to deal with Craglorn Delves, it is here for 5,000 Telvar. All right, let's check out the Scholarium and see what scripts he's got. We've made our way to the Scholarium, and I do want to point out to wait until at least Wednesday the 24th to do any of your shopping. Zeal of Zenithar starts tomorrow, and everything's going to be 10% cheaper. So keep that in mind as you do your shopping this week. Wait till tomorrow. But the rest of the week, it will be on discount. So let's check out the Scholarium. We have Bound Affix Script Brittle, adds Brittle, a debuff increasing critical damage taken. Bound Affix Script Heroism, adds Heroism, a buff increasing ultimate generation. Bound Focus Script Knockback, of course, adds a knockback. And Bound Signature Script Gladiator's Tenacity, adds damage reduction. All right, let's head over to Infinite Archive. We've made our way to Infinite Archive. I do want to point out that historically, I don't believe these items have been discounted during Zeal of Zenithar. So you're probably only looking at your Telvar Merchant and your Scholarium being discounted. This one, I don't believe we'll see a discount with Zeal of Zenithar. Let's see what he has.
Immortal.
Our first is a book, A New Cult Arises. This one drops in Infinite Archive, but the eidetic memory, the book out in the wild, is in Necrom in Telvanni Peninsula. If you're not sure how that works, we do have a link below that explains it. Next up, we have Stormhaven Treasure Maps. Again, this isn't worth 2,000 archival fortunes. It's going to be much cheaper to get it through guild traders. But Stormhaven brings us Dreamer's Mantle, Night Terror, and Storm Knight's Plate, as well as a chance for leads for the Ancestral Orc Boots or Maces motif chapters. Next up, we have Night Flame Shoulder Style Page. These will be available for keys from the Undaunted vendor when the mask is dropping. So we have a very time-limited window, usually about 4 days, of when these come back. I'm a fan of buying these with keys instead of with archival fortunes, but whichever one works for you. You can get them with 50 keys guaranteed, or you can spend 1 key at a time for a chance. That's what I normally do. I believe that the chance of getting a shoulder is much higher that way, but as with all things RNG, it's never a guarantee. So next up, we have Companion Equipment Weapons. I typically don't recommend these. You're at the mercy of RNG as to what trait you get, and they are bound if you buy them this way. Same with the style page here. Character bind on pickup, right? So most things here are bind on pickup. You're not going to be able to sell your style page, your companion equipment, your patterns, none of that. So use your archival fortunes wisely, and I don't particularly think that companion equipment is your best option. But if you do want it, it's here for 5,000 archival fortunes. All right, speaking of plans, we start off with Diagram Dwarven Amphora Ornate Polished. This one runs 25 to 75,000 gold on PCNA and about 45 to 75k on PCEU. So very similar pricing. There's only a handful of listings on either. I think this is a pretty good deal. Our second plan this week is Diagram High Elf Candle Winged. This is a base game plan, only about 18 to 23k on PCNA. And there's only one listing for 13k on PCEU. So it's cheap over there, but there's not many to choose from. Again, not a horrible way to spend your archival fortunes. And then finally, we have Diagram Hlalu Sconce Vellum. This is 100 to 119k on PCNA. And there are two listings on PCEU, one for 42,000, one for 50,000. Decent plans this week, I think. Next up, we have Inscribed Shard. When you collect 50 of these, you can create a replica Zenithar Addendum Gate. This drops out of Zenithar's Abbey public dungeon in Blackwood. It's a lot of them, and they run about 7,000 to 9,000 gold on PCNA. So this isn't a horrible way to get a few of them, but buying them all this way would be quite expensive. So if you only need a few left and you're tired of farming, they are here for you for 1,000 archival fortunes apiece. Next up, we have our leads. The first one is Torque Throat Guards. This is one of 5 pieces of Torque of Tonal Constancy and drops from all Craglorn world bosses. Our second lead should look familiar, Valenfell Etching Tools. We just saw that over from the Telvar Merchant. So you have a choice. Again, this is part of Rourke and Steam Guards. It drops out of the Valenfell dungeon. So we can get it for 25,000 Telvar from the Telvar Merchant. Remember, it's going to be discounted 10% starting tomorrow. Or for 5,000 archival fortunes. I love when we have choices. Our second book is On Tracks Perilous. I love these open books. Open books with writing in them. I love them for housing. This one drops in Infinite Archive, and the eidetic memory comes from Apocrypha. Remember, though, you can read these in anybody's house. You can read them out in the wild in Apocrypha in order to be able to buy them. But you do need to know the book. You need to have read the book somewhere before you can buy them or collect them organically through Infinite Archive. All right, we have our scripts. Bound Affix Script Protection adds protection, a buff reducing damage taken. Bound Focus Script Disease Damage adds disease damage. And Bound Signature Script Assassin's Misery adds improved use of status effects. Next, we have Fragment of the Fate Eater. This is one of 6 pieces of Force Shock Wild Burn skill style. And this one drops from the Westweald world boss Broken Path Cave. Remember, these are a guaranteed drop if you do the thing, in this case killing the world boss, but you can get it for 1,000 archival fortunes if you can't be bothered. And our last item is Unreliable Archive Map. Consume 20 Unreliable Archive Maps to unlock the Peer into the Mirror Maze achievement and the Shattered Mirror Maze face marks. Here are our Shattered Mirror Maze face marks. 20 of these at 3,000 archival fortunes apiece is awfully steep. These are also a guaranteed drop if you do enough Infinite Archive dailies. They can also drop randomly as you run the Infinite Archive. I think 3,000 archival fortunes when you need 20 of them is awfully steep, but if you only need 1 or 2 more and you're tired of running the dailies, it is an option. All right, we're going to run some Infinite Archive now. New gear drops every week starting on Tuesdays, so we're going to go see what's dropping this week. We just ran 2 arcs of Infinite Archive, and this week we have gear dropping from Craglorn. That includes Way of Air, Way of Fire, and Way of Martial Knowledge, as well as from Clockwork City, which includes Livewire, Mad Tinkerer, and Unfathomable Darkness. That's going to do it for this week. We'll see you in the next one.